Hello everyone guys, today we have a long-awaited episode, the one you've been asking for so much. You keep writing to me on social media, asking what's going on with that retro Mercedes, the one that looks like a 1955 Gullwing. The original car, as you know, costs around $3, $5, even up to $2 million, depending on the condition, the level of restoration, and so on. In our case, the exterior is old school, pure retro style, exactly the same look as the original. But inside, it's more or less modern. The donor car is from 2003, or maybe 2002 or 2004, honestly. I don't remember exactly. It's an AMG 32 with 355 horsepower, AMG suspension, air conditioning, cruise control, and all of that will be fully functional in this car. In the previous episode, we showed you that we built a safety frame for it. It's something no one will ever see inside the cabin, but the body itself is rigid. Everything is reinforced everywhere. That means the car will drive properly. Nothing will shake. The front won't flex. The hood won't bounce. None of that will happen. Before we even started building this car, I closely followed what people around the world are doing, and I saw that many of them simply bolt a fiberglass body on without any reinforcements. Quick job, and the car is driving. No, in our case, we're trying to do everything as well as possible and as close to the original as we can. So as you can see now, the car is already painted and 99% assembled visually. Some glass is still missing. The windshield wipers aren't installed yet. By the way, we also redesigned them to match the original. They will rotate in the opposite direction. But in fact, back in 1955, for some reason, the wipers were made that way. So let's take a look at what we've ended up with. Let's start, guys, with the front end. As you can see, the car, specifically the front section, is already assembled 100%. The bumpers are installed exactly like on the original, with these distinctive overriders, the so-called fangs. In the previous episode, I asked for your opinions on how it would look better, and in the end, we came to the conclusion that with these fangs, it's still closer to the original, closer to the true retro style. It looks right, although technically these bumpers can also be installed without the fangs. By the way, if anyone needs body parts, bumpers, headlights, or interior components for a car like this, feel free to contact us. I'll leave a link to our website in the description. We have absolutely all the parts. You can check the prices there and order G-Wagons 6x6, body parts for 4x4 versions, pickups, and so on. Everything is available. All right, let's move on. The radiator grille is exactly the same as on the original. Even inside, we installed a mesh with the same pattern and cross-section, just like on our beautiful 1955 Mercedes. What else is there to add here? You can simply see it for yourselves. I'll insert a few close-up shots so you can take a detailed look at all the gaps, how the grille sits. Everything is fitted very, very tightly. You can look at the hood and see how beautifully it flows into the front end, into the fenders on both sides. If you look from above, this gap was cut to exactly 5 millimeters. Nowhere more, nowhere less. There's nothing uneven. I'll be adding a lot of close-up shots so you can see just how much effort we put into this project. As for the paint, yes, the car is dusty right now because work is still being done around it and on it, so of course it picked up some dust. But you know, a thought keeps coming to my mind. It would be really cool to compare this car with an original Mercedes like this, even one that has gone through a modern restoration. Which Mercedes would actually look better? And more importantly, which one would be built with higher quality? That would be extremely interesting. But unfortunately, I think that here in Ukraine, in our country, there probably aren't any Mercedes like this. Maybe I'm wrong. If you know, correct me in the comments. Yes, we do have plans to lightly polish the car before handing it over. Without sanding, just using polishing pads to bring out as much gloss as possible. Although it already shines because we used a very expensive, high-quality clear coat, excellent surface preparation. I really like the result. And you tell me what you think in the comments. Honestly, I come to work, this Mercedes is just standing there, and I spend about 10 minutes walking around it before I even change clothes. I walk around it from every angle, looking at it. It's a very beautiful car. Even if this is a homemade build, yes, a custom project, I know that some people might write comments like, "You're praising a homemade car, it has no value." And sure, if we compare it to the original is still the original. I understand that perfectly. But this car looks incredibly cool. Everyone who comes to see me is simply blown away by this car. You can't even imagine how loud this project is right now. Everyone is talking about it, everyone is interested, everyone comes to see it. It's a very cool and very desirable car. Let's start with the wheels. Some people like them because they're 17-inch wheels, and some people don't, because the factory ones were 15-inch. We discussed this point with our client, and since we're using AMG brakes, we didn't want to change them. With 17-inch wheels, everything fits perfectly. We designed these wheels ourselves, approved the design with the client, and immediately discussed the offset. The ET factory wheels sit much deeper inside, both front and rear. In our case, we push the ET further outward. You can see it clearly in the video. They sit wide and look really good. In my opinion, it looks great. Our client liked it as well. We've already sold body kits like this before, and people often ask us what wheel setup we used, because they want the same look. And honestly, guys, it really is cool. Some people will get it, some won't. Everyone has their own taste. But for our future clients, we can do absolutely anything. Deeper wheels, different styles, any colors, and so on. Now, step by step, guys, we're coming to the most complex and the most expensive part of this car. Right here, this frame. Just this frame, guys. This one is already chrome-plated, although it's normally sold as plain brass. This is a fully original frame. Without chrome, a pair costs around $6,000. Left and right doors. Chrome plating adds even more. I don't remember exactly, maybe another $500 to $800. All the glass for this car was manufactured in Ukraine. We made the templates, sent them to the factory, waited some time, and everything turned out great. All the glass is installed except the windshield. We test-fitted the windshield before painting, of course. These windows are already available for sale if someone buys a body kit. But these two small corner windows, no one could make them, neither in Ukraine nor in neighboring countries. And here's why they're so difficult. This glass is tempered and curved in two directions at once, basically bent like a ball, and it also has holes in it. Because of that, we had to buy two original glasses. They're called Securit. They fit into these factory frames without any problems. Of course, some fine adjustment is always needed. I'm really curious how these windows fit on the original car. Someday, when there's finally peace and I can travel again, I'll go to Dubai and find a Mercedes like this. I'm genuinely very curious because everything here was fitted by hand. Every millimeter was a fight. Here, it fits absolutely perfectly, just like the original. You can also notice that there's a lot of rubber seals. One rubber seal runs all the way around here. Then there's a second seal that seals this pivoting window, and it's closed from the inside. By the way, it opens just like on classic Soviet cars. Zhiguli, the Gaz-24 Volga, the Gaz-21, and so on. That kind of small pivoting window. This was what you could probably call the air conditioning system on the original car. But in our case, we have a proper factory air conditioner. It will work, it will be adjustable, everything will function normally. So, we have a rubber seal here, then another rubber seal around the glass, then a separate seal right here. Then there's this window. It's removable, exactly like on the original. I'll show it to you a bit later. You can see the latch over there. You pull it up, and this window comes out and goes into the trunk. That's how the interior gets ventilated. Honestly, I doubt our client will be removing it often, but anything is possible. When you remove this window, there's yet another rubber seal that runs around the perimeter. Basically, there are a lot of rubber seals here, and all of them are very, very expensive. The next element is the lock. It's not particularly expensive, and the door handle is exactly the same as on the original. And a few words about the inner part of the doors. All the interior trim, the fabric and the leather, is taken to match the original. The fabric has this kind of color that's not quite beige, not white, not gray either. Hard to describe, but it fits beautifully here. We bought it and upholstered everything. The leather color is brown as well. On video, it might look red or dark red, but in reality, it's brown. We installed speakers here from the head unit. There will be 4 speakers in total. The original car had only 2, but we have 2 here and 2 more down by the footwell. You can't really see them, but they will be there. We also chose a head unit in retro style, so everything will match and stay true to the look. Many parts were simply not available for us, so we had to manufacture a lot ourselves. These doors, the inner inserts here and this insert right here. I watched original Mercedes cars in videos on YouTube, and honestly, I couldn't understand how they upholstered them at the factory. Especially this section, it's very complex. It has this deep pocket going inward. You can't just stretch material over it. You upholster it, but then you have to cut the edges. And where you cut, you end up with rough, frayed edges. That looks ugly, so we had to manufacture this part ourselves, a piece with an inward recess. Then we upholstered that part separately, folded all the edges properly, and only after that installed it in place. Wherever you look, everything looks clean and beautiful, just like a factory car. It's exactly the same story here as well. You see, everything is wrapped, everything is neat. No matter where you look, it all looks great. We also selected handles that match the originals. Basically, wherever you look inside, absolutely everywhere, you don't see any bare metal at all. We extended the carpet, finished the rear section, and wherever the factory carpet was missing, we completed it in such a way that you can't even tell anything was added. And guys, this is that very handbrake. It's located in the exact same place as on the original. It's fully functional. We extended all the cables, lubricated everything, secured it, adjusted it. The wheels lock exactly the way they should. You can see that our shifter looks like a manual transmission, right? We also bought a small knob, the same as on the original. At first glance, it looks like a manual, but in reality, this car has an automatic transmission. We did it this way on purpose, because original Mercedes cars like this were all manuals, with a long gear lever sticking up everywhere. In our case, we couldn't install a really long lever. That would look like something out of a Kamaz or a gas truck, so we did it like this instead. But you still know exactly which gear you're in. The instrument cluster is fully informative. It looks retro in style, but all the functions work. Even the check engine light will be displayed, as well as turn signals, total mileage, trip mileage, and so on. All of this will be shown on our retro gauges. We worked very closely on them as well. In the previous episode, I showed you that we initially bought ready-made gauges because, you know, with the first car, we didn't want to get overwhelmed with too many problems right away. But in the end, it turned out exactly the opposite. We had to do absolutely everything by hand anyway. And you know, there's a saying, if you want something done well, do it yourself. The internals, let me repeat, the internals are completely factory. All the most critical components are original SLK parts. The exterior is styled in retro design, and it worked. Guys, this is a serious breakthrough. The mileage is displayed. Absolutely all functions work. Everything that was supposed to be shown on the SLK instrument cluster is shown here as well. All these indicator lights, the green ones, the 2 red ones, the yellow one. The large red one on the right is oil pressure. The large green one is the turn signals. Although on the speedometer, both the left and the right turn indicators will also be duplicated. On the original Mercedes, there was only one blinking indicator, and you couldn't tell whether the left or the right turn signal was on. Mileage, trip counter, cruise control, absolutely everything will work here. This car originally had cruise control on the SLK, and we integrated the internal switch inside, while on the outside we installed retro-style knobs. So when you look at it, you don't see anything modern at all. Everything is in retro style. This turn signal switch, the stalk, you see, it looks like a retro lever, but inside it has the most serious components. The parts that are constantly clicked, switched, and operated. All of that comes directly from the SLK. This, guys, is a real success and a major breakthrough. Absolutely everything here comes from the original car. The one that's hidden underneath this outer shell. All these pillars. You can see how neatly everything is upholstered and tightened. Right here, you can see the gap where the dashboard was slid into place. We barely managed to fit it in, because every single millimeter was calculated in order to install the dashboard properly. No rubber strips stuffed in to hide mistakes. Everything is extremely tight and precise. I'll add detailed close-up shots so you can evaluate it all yourselves. The handles are also exactly like the original. Absolutely everything. Now the rear section. You can see that we completely enclosed it. The suspension towers are here. All of these are removable parts. So if, for example, the shock absorbers ever need to be replaced, everything can be taken apart without any issues. It's not like we glued everything together with sealant or something like that. No. Everything is fully serviceable and properly assembled. This part here, you see, we covered these fasteners I mentioned earlier. Not rivets, but special washers. They look like the originals, just slightly smaller. On the original car, everything looks like it's held together with screws. Here you can see this area remains clean and neat. It looks proper. The seats here are quite small. And guys, we're going to put 2 suitcases here. The original cars had them as well. They're secured to the floor. There's this chrome hoop. You can probably see the mounting points right here. This chrome bar runs all the way around, and 2 large suitcases are strapped to it with belts and fastened securely. The suitcases are also made in the correct style. We're already working on them. This chrome saber piece is already finished, but I think the next episode will be much more interesting when we take a look at the fully completed car. Now, a few technical details. The heater, the interior airflow, these vents. You can see that all the levers are chrome-plated. Everything moves. There are 3 of them here. All of them work perfectly. They can be closed, they can direct air to your legs, and they're fully adjustable. And most importantly, the windshield. Even though it's small, there are 2 air vents here, and everything is fully adjustable. Both heating and cooling work perfectly. The flap that completely blocks the airflow into the cabin, yes, the original factory flap, is still in place. When you close the heater, the flap fully covers the air passage. That's all preserved here. And everything works, guys. The sun visors are functional. On top will also match the headliner color, and the interior lighting in the center of the ceiling is installed as well. Everything will work. This is going to be a completely normal, fully functional car. Now let me tell you about the steering wheel. Guys, I've installed the wheel. The exterior looks exactly like the original. There are companies that make custom steering wheels to order. They're very expensive, but the quality is excellent and they look great. Even a used wheel, if you find and buy one, is not a good idea. By the way, we have one. It's cracked all over. Restoring it would be a pointless task. It's much better to get a new wheel. This one looks beautiful. Ivory color, everything is perfect, but it's thin and very large. The cabin itself is small and the windshield is narrow, while the area behind the windshield is wider. When you sit in the car, the wheel looks somewhat out of proportion. That's my opinion. Maybe someone else will like it, but I'll insert plenty of shots so you can judge for yourselves. And we ordered a custom steering wheel from the same company. This one you see here is a regular, non-collapsible wheel. It looks, well, kind of cool, but it would probably be more difficult to get in and out of the car with it. It sits very close to the legs, so they made us a really great wheel, a smaller diameter version, about 5 to 6 centimeters smaller, and it's collapsible. This wheel costs a lot of money. Of course, it will be an optional extra for this car. I might be slightly off, but it's around $5,000. Honestly, it's probably the most expensive steering wheel I've ever bought in my life. But it's worth it. Trust me, it's smaller and much more practical. It has a little lever, and the wheel folds down like this. I'll show it to you now. So now, guys, I've installed this smaller steering wheel, and it sits exactly where it's supposed to. And honestly, I think I'd put a wheel like this even in a factory Mercedes because it's much smaller and more proportional. It even aligns nicely with the lever, sitting just a little above this dashboard visor. The big original-sized wheel looks clumsy by comparison. What do you think? I'll insert plenty of shots for you, and you can tell me in the comments what kind of wheel you choose for your own car like this. Let's see how it folds. It's still a bit stiff as usual, You might need to file or adjust it slightly. That's normal. After all, this is a handmade custom piece. And there you go. That's how it folds. Really cool. It looks expensive, high-end. We'll also add a small black mat insert here. Overall, everything will look perfect. No gaps, just like it should. We'll also have a central cap for the steering wheel. And everything is looking really, guys, truly beautiful. So by your request, I've shown you the progress on this project. We're moving forward successfully. There's very little work left, and very soon you'll see the final episode. This is a truly amazing car, really beautiful. This car can actually be used every day. It's built so that there won't be any problems. All the components and assemblies are completely factory original from the SLK. You can service it using the VIN code. Nothing has been changed. Open the hood. Yes, there are some hinges, but even the hood hinges are taken from a Mercedes. Nothing factory made is homemade here. The rear hinges are custom, but they're fully functional and reliable. No issues there. Of course, I think if you just drove this car on the street and parked it, you'd have to be careful. People would take photos of it, kids would touch it, maybe even scratch it. Everyone has their own way of treating a car. The underbody is completely factory. The rear section is slightly longer, maybe 40 to 50 centimeters. Just the tail end. The wheelbase is preserved. Everything is treated, sealed, and coated with Raptor. So there won't be any issues. The wheel arches, both front and rear, are fully finished with inner liners. Everything is sealed and tight. If the car didn't have properly fitted inner wheel arches and side panels, all the dust and dirt from the road would end up inside the cabin. That's how this type of body works. But in our case, I'll show you some shots. The inner wheel arches are all in place. Everything is blacked out and painted, looking completely new. Of course, we post more updates on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok, stories, posts, and so on. If you're interested in following various projects, subscribe. I'll leave the links in the description.